The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher.
When we begin this morning with an officer-involved shooting out of East Bakersfield, the police department says it all started when an officer tried to speak to a man suspected of selling drugs. Police sirens and flashing lights filled the intersection at Beale Avenue and Monterey Street yesterday afternoon. Police say an officer tried making contact with a man sitting in his car in the AM/PM parking lot regarding an ongoing drug trafficking investigation. Police say that's when the man rammed his car into a BPD patrol vehicle, prompting the officer to open fire.
The adult male suspect, the driver of that vehicle, was struck by the officer's gunfire. He is in stable, non-life-threatening condition currently at an area hospital.
Police say the man who was shot did not have a gun and his passenger was detained for questioning. The officer involved in the shooting was not hurt. By our count, this is the 7th officer-involved shooting in Kern County so far this year.
And now to a traffic alert. All northbound lanes of I-5 are now back open, but two big rigs crashed around 2 p.m. One of them caught fire and nearly burnt the trailer to the ground, also spreading flames to the nearby hillside and shutting down all lanes of Interstate 5 northbound for nearly 2 hours. It took some people coming into Kern County more than 3 hours just to make it through the 13-mile-long backup. CHP slowly reopened one lane at a time during the cleanup, which took about 12 hours.
Yeah, I was one of those people stuck
Yikes.
in traffic overnight. Not fun. Turning now to our coverage of the Sierra snowmelt, and it is day 6, and Highway 178 through the canyon, it is still closed due to cracks in the road that appear to have gotten bigger. 17's Marco Torres reports engineers and geologists are now assessing the damage, and they're trying to come up a timeline for when the road will reopen.
A dozen Caltrans engineers and a geologist went to work on reassessing the damages on Highway 178. The cracks in the road are big, and they are getting bigger. As you can see in the video, the cracks are big enough for me to put my hand inside with ease. What's even more shocking is I could put part of my leg into the crack too. There are some complications with fixing the road, one being the surging Kern River impeding future repairs. But a solution for that is already in the works.
If there's some sort of lower level of water release that's needed for the Kern River in order to conduct the repairs, that plan is already being put in place to accommodate the repairs to 178 and then to resume the normal water releases.
The swollen Kern River continues to bash against the concrete pillars holding up the highway, that water being the main reason for the current damages.
There had been some water undermining 178 and getting underneath the roadway that led to those cracks.
During the canyon shutdown, Caltrans has also been fixing up the highway, repairing damaged guardrails, patching up the road, and removing dangerous vegetation. The geologist is also working on assessing Highway 155 too. It's been closed since March. The alternative route is for drivers to take Highway 58 east, then go north on Highway 14 and west on the 178.
Marco Torres, 17 News.
Making news around the nation this morning. It is down to the wire. After months of back and forth negotiations, the bill to avoid a government default is one step closer to passing. The bipartisan measure, hammered out by President Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, passed the House in a 314 to 117 vote. For more on this now, we go to NBC's Bree Jackson on Capitol Hill.
The bill is passed.
And with that gavel, the debt limit agreement passes the House with overwhelming bipartisan support. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy taking a victory lap.
This is the biggest cut and savings this Congress has ever voted for. Tonight, I hope we proved it to you again, that we put the citizens of America first. And we didn't do it by taking the easy way.
Many hardline Republicans opposed the bill, but House Democrats helped push it through.
Extreme MAGA Republicans attempted to take control of the House floor. Democrats took it back for the American people.
In a statement, President Biden praised the House and urged the Senate to vote quickly, saying the agreement is a bipartisan compromise. Neither side got everything it wanted. The hard-fought deal faces even more pushback in the upper chamber.
House leadership wants us in the Senate to rubber stamp a mammoth increase of $4 trillion in new debt in exchange for supposedly $1.5 trillion of claimed deficit reduction.
This agreement is nowhere near as bad as the Republican original proposal, which would have been devastated. But I think for a variety of reasons, the no vote is right.
Others are on the fence.
I got to go through all the details. Every time you turn over the rock, there's something else slimy under it.
With the June 5th deadline looming, Congress must act fast in order to avoid a potentially catastrophic debt default. And some Republicans pledged to introduce amendments to the bill which could delay its passage. But Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has already warned senators that they may have to stay through the weekend to get this measure passed. On Capitol Hill, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
In your 17 Court Watch this morning, an appeals court put a pause on proceedings in a high-profile murder case until it determines whether a reporter should be forced to turn over her notes to the defense counsel. The legal wrangling started shortly after the Bakersfield, Californian reporter Ishani Desai interviewed an accused murderer in jail. After the interview, the public defender served the newspaper with subpoenas for all unpublished material, including the list of questions Desai prepared. The judge sided with the public defender, but the newspaper responded by filing an appeal. The defense now has 30 days to file a response justifying the subpoena.
The owners of a downtown Bakersfield beauty salon have a message for the criminals who recently burglarized and vandalized their business. On the plywood that now replaces the broken plate glass windows out front, the message is, you can break our glass, but not us. Thieves broke into the Breaking Bad hair salon this week and stole a large amount of retail hair products and tools, among other items. The owners say the burglars also disabled the salon's security cameras, so she is asking nearby business owners for their footage in hopes of catching those responsible.
Education news this morning. Banning books and inclusion in education has become a controversial topic as many states grapple with the idea of banning books in school districts.
Efforts to ban so-called bad books reached a record high last year, and the list continues to grow this year. Yet California officials say the state will not follow suit. Here's 17's Michaela Armstrong with more.
With potential bans and challenges, books you can find in your everyday library could be gone. However, California officials say the state is taking a stand on this trend of censorship across the country.
It is the law, and we will uphold and defend the law, and we will protect our students against bullying. We do not want our LGBTQ+ students being bullied. We don't want any erasure of anyone's culture. We can talk about the impacts of race and racism in this country, but still how we learn from that.
With more states banning books from schools and in libraries, California is working to introduce legislation to protect diversity in literature and curriculum. The latest by Assemblymember Corey Jackson.
AB 1078 has been introduced to provide a roadblock to the banning of books or curriculum in the name of CRT or parent rights. Parents have the right for their children to have access to diverse books and curriculum that reflects the diversity of California.
As school comes to a close, many of the books banned in other states can be found at any Kern County library, which has taken a stand against censorship.
Book bans and challenges, they harm the community. We're basically, trying to take away books from our young readers or our older readers, any reader in general, because once you have it out of the school library or the public library, nobody can read it.
A widely known banned book is John Steinbeck's 1939 novel, The Grapes of Wrath, banned for being libelous after residents in Kern were less than thrilled about its depiction of Kern's treatment of migrants from the Dust Bowl. But there are more than 10 banned books in the library and 1,200 other challenge books on the American Library Association's list. Farah Deridia says those books are some of the most sought after because a lot of those books are the ones people can relate to most.
Everybody definitely deserves to be represented in books. And I think when we take that away from some people or some cultures, I think it harms the community, it harms the individual. They don't feel like they belong.
You can check out any of these banned books at any Kern County library during Banned Book Week in October. Michaela Armstrong, 17 News.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.